This is the ultimate and only guide you're going to need as a warrior DPS in Phase 2 of Season of Discovery. Hello, my name is Javier, and my goal is to make World of Warcraft a lot easier for you so that you can have a lot more fun and worry a lot less. Looking at our stat priority, we're going to want 9% hit, and that's going to get us to the cap at level 40. Will we be able to get here or not? Who is to say? Well, I am, and you may not get, right there, but still, that's what you want to aim for. Strength and attack power are both coming out top in all of the sims I've been running at level 40 over agility still. And then after that, really, it's just crit. That's the only thing really you're going to be getting on your gear outside of stamina, etc. Not that you need to worry, of course, because I'm going to be taking you through all of the gear that you're going to be getting anyway. Let's have a look at the build. So we are going to be going with axes, and we are going to be going two-hander in this build. I have looked at dual wielding, I have looked at Fury, and it's just not happening right now. If you really would like me to do a Fury build, then I can. Just let me know in the comments, because remember, World of Warcraft is meant to be fun and not all about min-maxing. But I'm aware that a lot of you do want to be min-maxing, and therefore we're doing what is best, of course. So, with that said, let's put 3 out of 3 into Rend, increasing the bleed damage done of Rend, and put 3 out of 3 into Improved Heroic Strike, reducing the cost of it by 3 Rage. We're going to put 5 out of 5 points into Tactical Mastery, meaning that we're going to gain up to 20, we're going to retain 25 of our Rage when we swap stances. We are going to be swapping stances, more on that when we go through the rotation. 1 point into Anger Management, increasing the time required for your rage to decay when out of combat. This is generally a more quality of life improvement and will slightly increase our DPS when we're going from pack to pack or from pack to boss, etc. 2 out of 2 points in improved overpower, increasing the critical strike chance of overpower by 50%, which is obviously huge and speaks for itself. And then another 3 points into deep wounds. This means that our critical strikes are going to cause the target to bleed. We're then going to put 2 points into Impale, increasing the critical strike damage of our abilities in all of our stances that we're going to be using, and then putting 5 out of 5 into two-handed weapon specialization, increasing the damage that we do with our two-handers by 5%. Of course, we're using two-handers, specifically axes, hence why we're also putting 5 out of 5 into axe specialization as well, increasing our chance to crit with those axes by 5%. We're going to put 1 point into sweeping strikes. This is going to give us a huge amount of cleave and therefore increase our rage generation. We want to be using this as much as possible. Last point, of course, then going into mortal strike, our bread and butter, which is going to reduce the effectiveness of healing against the target and obviously do a big old load of damage. Onto the runes then. On the chest, it's going to be for Raging Blow, a ferocious strike dealing 100 weapon damage, but can only be used while enraged. Berserker Rage or Blood Rage is active. On the next one then, generally it's kind of up to you, and the sims are really interesting. You can go for Consumed by Rage, enraging you and granting 10% melee damage bonus for 12 seconds, or up to a maximum of 12 swings after you exceed 80 Rage, which is fantastic. You could, if you like, go the Frenzied Assault way and go while wielding two-handed weapons, your attack speed is increased by 20% as well. I'm going to go Consumed by Rage. We're going to go for Endless Rage on the next rune, generating 25% rage, more rage from all damage we deal. That's on the hand. And then on the new ones, which is the Waist and Boot, we're going to put Focus Rage, reducing the rage cost of our abilities. Then, in the foot, we're going to go with Rallying Cry. Let loose Rallying Cry, granting all party and raid members within 40 yards 15% increased maximum health for 10 seconds, which again is one of our bread and butter abilities that warriors have loved for so long. Before we get onto the Biz Gear, let's just have a good old look at what some of the pre-Biz Gear we can actually get is. A lot of the Tiger gear is going to be very good. Any gear that has got strength on, you can get a lot of greens, as you can see here on the auction house. And also, for example, on the waist, on the right-hand side here from a Raffi Basin honoured, you can get some good waist items, and a lot of PvP rings are also going to be really good as well. As expected, Scarlet Monastery is also going to have a lot of good gear. There's things like this Fiery War Axe, which is a really great two-handed axe that's a world drop. Could be very expensive, however. However, one that I do recommend you do is the Whirlwind Weapon quest, getting you the Whirlwind Axe, and this is a warrior-specific quest. It is two-handed. We are doing a two-handed axe build after all. This is going to be really, really fantastic. Going on to the actual best-in-slot gear then. The first one we're going to want is this here, the Tempered Interference Negating Helmet, giving a ton of strength and stamina. It's going to improve our crit chance by 1%, and when we use it, we're going to reduce our movement speed by 20%. But also increase our melee attack speed by 20% for 10 seconds. It is on a 10-minute cooldown, so use this wisely. I do really recommend getting blacksmithing so that you can use this. Nomagon Peace Officer's Talk then from Nomagon is going to be great on the neck. Trog Slayer Pauldrons on the shoulders, again a 22 attack power. And the Drape of Dismantling, again on the cloak. These are all from Nomagon, excluding the head, of course. If you guys aren't sure where to get gear, or you have any class questions, rotation questions, UI, add-ons, literally you name it, whether it's SoD, retail or Wattle, etc., please do let me know and join our Discord, where we have a lot of very knowledgeable members, and I can also help you out with any questions you do have. You can also consider joining my Patreon or YouTube membership, where you can then open a ticket in my Discord and I will help you one-to-one in private with logging, simming, setting up your UI, and you can also import my ELV UI as well if you'd like. On the chest, legs and boots, we're going to go for the insulated leather gear. One thing I do get a lot of comments on is people that don't quite understand that actually in Classic, it's not always warriors wearing plate. Paladins, for example, are wearing a lot of cloth, etc. And it really is more about the stats we get. It's very different to retail. So I want to put that out there in case you're a bit confused while we're looking at this kind of gear. This is a really good set. We get an increased crit chance by 1%, and it's going to increase daggers and an attack power for druids, which obviously isn't very good for us, but the 17 strength and 13 agility, however, for example, on the chest, is fantastic. The berserker braces on the wrist then are going to be from Warsong Outriders Exalted, Warsong Gulch reputation, and we've got the Thermoplog's Rocket Cleaver as the two-handed best-in-slot axe that we're going to be using in this build. Machinist's gloves are the best gloves you're going to get. Again, these are leather, but it adds 30 attack power when fighting mechanical units, making these the absolute best for a lot of specializations. The power-assisted lifting belt is fantastic for us DPS warriors, especially with this build, considering it increases the damage of two-handed axes by 3. Anything that's going to increase your weapon skill like this is going to be phenomenal with this build, by the way. Again, on the boots and legs, it's going to be the insulated set that I've already shown you. There's this unique equipped ring that you can get. We're going to want the Devastation one. It's from Nomagon again, adding arcane and nature resistance and adding strength and agility and stamina. You can stay with your Phase 1 Protector's Band from PvP on the other ring, and the Avenger's Void Pearl, same again from Akame, the quest line at the end there of BFD, on one of your trinkets. The other new one, however, is the 420B Experiment trinket, increasing your attack speed by 5% and attack power. Apart from that, you can shove on this monolith bow, adding 6 strength and 3 agility in your spare slot. Going on to the consumables then, here is a few examples of some really good ones we can use. You've got the Elixir of Agility, the Elixir of Ogre Strength, pretty self-explanatory on those, and also the Dragon Breath Chili, which does stack with your other food. This is going to belch out some fire at those nasty enemies you're fighting, and it's on a small proc chance. On the actual other food then that it does your belching is going to stack with, I would recommend the spider sausage. Ignore this crap on the left. I just had that there for my last video. The spider sausage is really good. It's 12 stamina and 12 spirit, which obviously doesn't really matter for us warriors. But overall, this is one of the best foods you can really get. And you can farm these spiders in the northwest region of Dustwallow Marsh. There is like a Kodo stew, I think it is, that's the same as well. I just found that the spiders that you can farm have a really good drop rate and are the easiest ones to do. And if you have taken blacksmithing and you're not sure what to take for your other profession, you could maybe be taking mining, of course. If you have tons of money and you don't really care about having mining to do it yourself, then I would go with the enchanting profession for this here, this sigil. It increases your attack power by 20 for 30 minutes, which is just fantastic. Doesn't persist through death, and it does have a 30-minute cooldown, similar to like how the world buffs work. And you could also then take alchemy for this on the right, the mildly irradiated rejuvenation potion, restoring health and mana when needed. So health for us, and also increasing attack power by 40 for 15 seconds. So the choice is yours, but blacksmithing is the absolute must. Putting it all together into a rotation, and it's going to be pretty simple. We're going to want to go into Berserker stance when we start off, and then use Raging Blow, Whirlwind, and then our Mortal Strike. Putting it all together then into a rotation, we're going to use our Raging Blow, Whirlwind, and then Mortal Strike in that order in our Berserker stance. Now, what we're then going to want to do, because we want to use our Overpower, but we can only use this in our battle stance, is dump all of our rage down to 25, because remember, when we're swapping stances, we are going to retain 25 rage. So we're going to swap over to battle stance, use our Overpower, and then swap up back over to our Berserker stance and continue. So it is a pretty simple rotation based on the builds we've got. You just have to be very comfortable with your stance swapping on that. That's pretty much like the base of it. I'm assuming you're probably going to already kind of know the base rotation from doing phase 1 if you're watching this video. I could be wrong, however, of course, but that is pretty much it. You should be good to go now in Arms two-handed phase 2 warrior DPS. And like I did say, if you really would love a Fury guide, etc., then just let me know. This is going to be the absolute best from all the tests I've ran and practiced on in my experience. But hey, I'm here to serve you guys, so let me know in the comments.